Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 29 of Bowls Breakdown Podcast with Matthew and Mike. And today we've travelled from Bridgend up to Prestine Bowling Social Club to speak specially with two great gentlemen, Rob and David Weale. Gentlemen, thank you for your time this morning.
No worries, Mike. Good morning.
It was silence then. It was like, what were you going to say something on that?
Yeah, good morning to you too.
Yeah.
It's great to have you up here. Yeah.
No, and it's do you know what? I really appreciate your time and everything. I need to pull up that thing you've done, Matt.
Yeah. So obviously, I mentioned you've seen a couple of the podcasts with us. Every podcast starts the same way. Every guest has a different story to tell. So obviously, Robert, we'll start with you because we did hear that you were the one that started bowling first out of the two of you. Where did bowls start for you as a person?
Okay, so it's probably people think bowls has always been in the Weale family.
Yeah.
Which is incorrect actually, because my dad. Well, I started playing the same evening as my dad started playing when I was 11. So that was 1974. The reason for that was just because Dad's best friend, Eddie Gummer, he had started playing bowls in Prestine. It's probably in the club, 2-3 months. And the club was struggling a little bit, members-wise, issues back in the day with membership. But Dad had convinced, Eddie had convinced Dad to go down and help the club out. So the evening back at home, Dad sort of said, I'm going for a walk. And who's coming with me? And I was the one who put my hand up and said, "Yep, Dad, I'll come down for a walk." I didn't know where we were going. But anyway, he rocked up through the gates, Prestine Bowling Club. Eddie was so pleased to see him. I got him sorted, bowls on the green, started playing. There's me, 11-year-old, and I was like, well, can I have a go?
Yeah.
I just, didn't want to stand there. So he sorted me, Prestine Bowls Club then, down there. You haven't seen the club, but all we used to have basically was a shed. And in that corner of that shed was an old bag with lignum vitae bowls.
Yeah.
And they sorted me out 4 bowls and a jack, stuck me on the end rink, up and down I went and just started there. And that was it. Rest is history, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of history then after that, mine. So we'll get into
I missed that because I was just sorting out some volume controls. How old were you then?
Yeah, I was 11 years.
11 years old.
Yeah.
And that's when it started for you.
Yeah, same night as Dad.
Yeah.
And it was Dad walking back home that night. He sort of turned around and said to me, that was good, he enjoyed it. And he said, that was quite hard though, wasn't it? Basically saying, playing that big bowl to get close to the jack. And I was like, no, I thought it was okay, actually. Thought like I could roll those off. I said, Dad, I was getting quite close to that. Yeah.
So you carried on, you obviously joined members and started playing?
So yeah, Dad joined up, full membership. Obviously, it's back in those days that really you had to be 14 to join and play in clubs and play bowls. So I sort of sneaking in under the radar, sort of, the following season at 12, they were getting me, into the club-friendly teams and started playing then, basically. So, yeah, just integrated in the team and playing competitions and doing, fairly well, getting little runs against what I call the old gents of Prestine Bowling Club back in the day.
Yeah. So when did your brother start following you in that bowling?
I think it's a couple of years after that, probably around 76, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, I'd left school then. I think I went to college in Newton and I started around about then in 76.
So were you about 16, 17?
I was 17.
17 then. Now then, let's have a little makeup of the family because I don't know how many are you because there's lots of wheels in there. Let's have a little look at how many you got there. So you obviously mum, dad, how many brothers?
Yeah, so obviously Dad started playing and then brothers wide. Obviously there's 4 boys.
Yeah.
So David oldest, then myself, and then Brian, and then Stuart.
Right.
We have got a sister. She's always forgotten. Slap bang in the middle,
Right.
And she was pretty good in her day too, wasn't she?
Yeah. So we've all dabbled and mum. She used to play as well in the ladies section. Obviously, doing lots of things, teas and God knows what, but also playing in the ladies team. Got an uncle who used to play, so Uncle John, and I actually playing in combinations in Wales was playing with John initially,
Right.
in the pairs, and we did win the Welsh pairs on one occasion with John. But John used to take me around, drive me around, to matches and whatever. So he's a big influence on me as well.
Right, okay.
But we've also got wider family now. Obviously, Brian, married to Joanna Jones.
Yeah.
So Joanna, Welsh international as well.
Yeah.
She's played Commonwealth Games in Manchester. She won a bronze with Anwin.
Yeah.
And Jo is now back in the Welsh fold, isn't she?
Yes, she is, yeah.
Back playing again.
Selection again. So we've got the nephews then. Nathan and Hayden are playing.
Right.
They're good. My daughter has played. She's played internationals, junior internationals for Wales as well.
Right.
Also, you've got Fiona, haven't you? Fiona Priest, another relation.
Right, okay.
Lives right next door to the bowling green, and her husband Alan plays now and again.
Yeah.
And then the one you mentioned, and another nephew, Tommy Offer.
Our old friend Tommy. But he kept that secret.
He did keep that secret from us. We could have words with him next time we
He's
see him. That's
related
for
to the
sure.
Weales. That's,
Love words.
yeah, I'd have been telling everybody that if it was me. Okay, so joined family. And it is a family thing in it, bowls. Once you get that bowls bug, it's happened for us. I played bowls before. Then
like you said, I found it interesting because obviously we talked about it, juniors in bowls and stuff, and 9 times out of 10, or if not 10 times out of 10, your juniors are started purely out of either a grandfather, an uncle, or a father playing. Yeah. They won't start other than that. Obviously in South Wales we talked about going into the schools and stuff. We're lucky we've got quite a good development of juniors coming along at the moment. What we found now is since those kids have started and their parents haven't played, a lot of those parents now are actually playing because the kids started. Mm-hmm. So I do think you're right. I think bowls is very much, once one family member starts, it's almost like most or some others will give it a go at the same time,
No, you're absolutely right. It does become that pathway, doesn't it, where, your family plays and maybe it's, some little success even in the club, just winning a club competition, county representation. That leads on then, doesn't it, to that desire. You're around the game then, and you're more likely to play, aren't you? Yeah. But it's interesting that you're saying there that it's youngsters starting now maybe, and that's flipped, isn't it? That the parents then start to play, which is only a good thing.
Especially in, obviously we're up in mid Wales, where you would expect there'll be a little bit more things to probably be doing down South Wales than mid Wales, so there's a lot more opportunities for different sports and stuff. Bowls kind of goes, I think, under the radar a little bit. It's one of only very few sports you could probably play 3 generations of family together. You probably don't, other than that and maybe golf, there's no other sport you can play with 3 generations of family that I know of.
They try, and probably cricket could be another one. It depends how fit the...
In terms of that high level, you could probably have 3 generations of players who, like you said, or internationals or, at the same time at the higher level,
You go back to Dad.
Yeah.
If you look at that picture on the wall there, you've got 4 of them there.
Yeah.
Well, they were all like drinking buddies, darting buddies and whatever, and they all joined basically after, as Robert said, with going down to his mate Eddie. You've got John Arkle and Norman Dixon, Chalky, and they were like the darting gang on a Friday night, and they all ended up starting playing.
Yeah.
So, and we did get a few ex-cricketers as well, didn't we? They finished playing cricket because the cricket pitch is next to the bowling green, and they were the likes of Bill Lister join in, and as I say, John Arkle was more of a cricketer than a darter, but they all joined and they took to like a duck to water.
Well, we've talked about it with past guests, so kind of that demographic of ex-football or rugby players or cricket players who mid-30s, late 30s that can no longer play rugby and football. The physicality of it probably gets a bit too much for the body at that age. What the bowls not, associating for
quite right, because that is the market that we need to be in to attract players into the game, isn't it? We need to make a bigger push there that, as you say, cricketers, footballers, rugby players, who wants to play rugby? That's what we need to do.
I do want to move on because we've got lots to talk about, and this could be like a 3-part session. This one, so who had the success first at that young age? Was it who got into the sort of county at a young age? Was it? Look at you.
No,
You picked that up with the camera. That was a good little nod towards his brother. Yeah, so it was you first then.
yeah, afraid that was me as well. As I said, so I was being sneaked into the club team.
Yeah.
Playing friendlies and whatever. So a little success in our club competitions. But when I was 14, there was the first win for me really was up in Raider. So it was a Raider Open singles. So it was a competition where you would go up and play on the one day. And that'd be one section. And then the other section would play the following day. And then if you qualify, down to the last two in that section, you were up the following weekend for the finals. So me and Dad went up, and we both got through on the one day. So, yeah, we're through to finals weekend. So we rock up to Raider on that one, and I think it was a draw in the morning, and we avoided each other in the draw. Yeah. So we both go on and play our semi-finals and both win. Okay, so 14, and Dad's, he's a fair player, a good player. Yeah. And so having a couple of sandwiches, whatever, a little break before the final, Dad turned around to me and said, look, son, don't worry. He said, I'm not going to be too hard on you, in the final. We'll have it, go down, we'll have a game. And, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I beat him 21-14. That was, he was like, okay, fair enough, son. That's put him quite, So that was the first.
Was that the first time you beat Dad?
Could well have been, actually. Yeah, it could have been. And always remember the trophy. It was like that. Big trophy. Yeah. So that was, yeah.
You can't do it with your microphone in your hand.
No, I know. That's difficult doing. Yeah, difficult doing that. But so obviously as a 14-year-old, that's quite impressive, isn't it? That and yeah, just makes you want to play more and win more stuff, doesn't it?
I was just going to say, isn't that the sort of the start of it? You've won this silverware, and you the hunger for more there. Really, obviously, it kicked into you, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was a catalyst, wasn't it? To actually play more, because obviously at 14, I could have entered the Welsh competitions that particular year, but the youngest age category at the time was under 35s. Yeah. So I said to my parents, and they were suggesting, enter that competition, but I was like, nah, we won't have a chance in that. What's the point?
A 35-year-old were old people to you then, probably at 14, weren't they? They were, that's the reality of it.
Grown men. The following year at 15, because obviously I've done that and won that trophy, it was like, no, we're going to have a go this year. In the year, there was, remember Robert Jones, unfortunately, sadly passed away last year. So Robert Jones was playing at Bilf, and Robert was just a year older than myself, and Robbie was making a little mark as well in bowls there, and so it was enter the under 35s of Mid Wales, see how you go. And I was like, oh, Robert Jones is in that, so probably won't do any good, but so we entered, managed to beat Robbie. I think it could have been the Mid Wales finals, so qualified for the Welsh finals anyway. So rock up there as a 15-year-old, obviously whites. Always remember I supported England when I was young, I'm afraid. So I used to have England shirts and England caps and whatever. So I played through the Welsh finals with this England cap on. But I'm playing, as you say, grown men in my opinion. But I did get the final. So went through final, lost to Roger. Second name escapes me.
Davis.
Roger Davis, deaf and dumb, a lovely, lovely fella. But Roger beat me in the final, defending champion, and beat me. But I certainly raised a few heads during that run, the way I played and beating these, as I say, grown men. And that was then probably the springboard to go, well, I can play, and I've turned people's heads in Wales and got that recognition.
You said something then that I was thinking about on the way up, because you're not far from the border really with England, are you? So
200 yards that way.
200 yards there? God, we were lucky. We were so lucky, weren't we? Yeah. at times, did you ever think, well, you see yourself more English? Because you said you obviously, with the football you supported, but Wales football was quite rubbish at that time, I suppose, anyway, when they...
Yeah, well,
Not now. Not
no,
now.
not now. We're going well now. But no, the story behind that one is basically brothers and sister, all born at home. So home births all born in Prestine.
Right.
So Welsh. Myself, mum had it down the road, down at hospital, Hereford. So I'm actually was born in England.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why at home growing up, it was me being the black sheep, if you like.
Right, okay.
You wanted to stir the pot in the house when
and
it's...
being contrary.
Look at his face now, is it?
So very contrary, England, football tops and England rugby tops and whatever. But listen,
Proud Welshman, I know.
Got the representation for Wales at 18, and totally that's flipped. Like Welsh through and through, like supporting Welsh and Welsh bowls.
I'm going to go to David.
Yeah, I was just about to ask so David. Obviously, you started bowls at 17, which is an interesting age. I think no matter where you are to start bowling, it's like I find that 17 you either get into rugby or football, but starting at 17,
Drinking.
yeah, especially in women.
Not like Robert, mind you. We're like Robert.
But starting at 17, what was the path then to obviously that first success for you? Then obviously starting at 17.
Well, I think I only started playing basically because Dad and Robert went, if you know what I mean. You just followed on, really. And that was probably the same then for Brian, wasn't it? Because they went, we went. And basically, it grabs hold of you a bit, doesn't it? And as Robert said, we had success quite early.
Yeah.
Which was the main thing, And of course, then the interest just builds and builds and builds.
What was that first success for you, David?
For me personally, club-wise, it was probably club competitions. But the first one for us probably, well, it was me, I would say it was 84 when we won the Welsh Rinks, wasn't it? Was as the four of us, three of us with Dad.
Well, the Welsh Fours in 84, yeah, that's correct.
And after that, my second one was probably winning the Welsh National Mixed Pairs with my sister-in-law, Jo.
Right.
And after that, everything just went on fours, and a few pairs and everything.
There's a few and-ons we can add to those.
So
I've got them all.
The first fours you mentioned that.
Downing Worthing.
Was that your first one?
Well, yes, it was.
As a four?
Well, it was in Ebbw Vale, the finals were in those days.
Right. And that was the first one you won as a four, as a family.
Robert skip, Dad third, me second, and Brian leading.
Yeah, and actually that was, if you look at it on paper, that was quite a young rink at the time in those days, 84. So I'm 21, Dave would be 23.
Yeah.
Brian would have been 17 on the mat and Dad. What would Dad be then? Probably just late 40s.
Yeah, he would
50,
be.
like whatever. Yeah. So, it's quite a young rink.
That is a young rink, isn't it? Yeah.
I do remember a few things from it too.
Go on, then.
Because in them days, going back the way they did things, and I think Robert can remember it, because we were doing well. I think Robert was doing well in another competition, the singles or whatever.
And the under 25.
Yeah, because they said, "Oh, you can't keep playing in two. You're scheduled to play two matches at the same time." And I think it was a semi-final of the fours. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure it was. And we had to get our Uncle John who was working somewhere in Wales it was on the telephones then, and we had to get him there as a reserve because they said he couldn't play in the two. Right. So he had to come there. Anyway, it transpired in the end that they did allow him to play.
Right.
And I think, pretty sure it was a semi-final. And I think there was one shot in that semi-final where you hit a live ball probably 2/3 way up the green into the ditch for shot. I can actually remember that. It was a hell of a shot that was in them days.
Yeah, I do remember that.
You do remember that one. Yeah.
About right, isn't it? You hit it a hell of a long way into the ditch, to the jack.
Yeah, to the jack, yeah.
Them little things in bowls in life with your family, they're still precious, and they're so precious to go back and remember that first one with Dad. You'll always have that in whatever happens in the future, and you'll always remember that first one.
Absolutely, so precious, like to win that, and as I say, young rink. We're from Prestine, and we're going down. We didn't really have, expectations of winning, the Force Championship.
Yeah.
That's got to be fair, that we didn't. But to do it with your family, that just, the pride, the sense of achievement then just means so much more. And the photograph after that we've got with 4 very dodgy characters.
Is that up on the wall there, somewhere?
I don't think that one is, to be honest.
No, we got more hair on the one.
I said, I don't think cameras were invented.
No. but we've got Stuart as well stood in front of us, just in some joggers and whatever. And Stuart's there,
Because obviously
How old was he then?
Oh, about
Sorry, Matt.
5 or 6.
Okay.
If that, 5.
No, I would say Stuart would have been 9.
74 he was born.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 9, 10, yeah.
Stuart then obviously end up replacing your father after
kicked that out.
Yeah.
for a little while.
Dad had the cut.
And
he had to go.
I'll mention it now because since we're on the fact, obviously in the fours, you managed, both of you have managed 9 titles with Brian, since obviously he was the first one. And then Stuart obviously coming to replace your father's the other 8 that you've won on top of that. So, as a, again, father included, but as the 4 of you, the brothers, to win 8 titles for the 4 of you together, obviously the first one being your father and Stuart stepping in. How did that success just keep continuing? I find it very hard to just win it once or even, twice, but to do it 9 times for you both and then obviously Stuart 8 with the 4 of you.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, it's quite unique, isn't it? As a family to do that.
I can't see that ever being repeated.
It's going to be tough, isn't it, for a repeat on that? But I think, obviously, as I said, first success. Didn't expect that, and obviously managed to do that. Then Stuart grows up. He's old enough to play, so that's when we changed the rink. But what I think it is during that time is that we're all playing that position in that rink. Obviously, myself skipping, David third, Brian's on the mat, and Stuart comes in a second. But we're playing in those right positions, I think, and we're playing those positions well.
Yeah.
And that is key to it. Yeah. Listen, any player is different and has to be handled differently, sort of man management wise. Yeah. We're brothers, but we're all different characters, So it's knowing how to, for me as a skip, knowing what to say and handle people on that green. Yeah. David smiles because I know, and maybe from outsiders looking in, they think
he bullies me.
I was going to say, who was the hothead, David? Who was the hothead after the 4 groups there? Which one was the loudest out of you 4?
The loudest would definitely be Brian.
Mm.
One of his nicknames, Looney. But Brian was definitely the loudest. Stuart just got on with it, quite quiet, in all fairness. And Robert, if there's ever a shot went wrong, it didn't matter who did the shot wrong, I had the blame for it.
I was just about to ask, how did your 2 dynamic? Obviously, being 3 and 6, you talk a lot together.
Quite honestly, we talk, but quite honestly, it never bothered me. It's water off and tax back.
It's more of the brothers saying it rather than the skip.
If he's going to let a bit of frustration out, it's easier to take it out on me because I wouldn't answer him back. So there's no point.
Especially letting anger out on a. Sometimes you kind of, things aren't going your way. You need that little bit of release of that anger just to start reset again. Sometimes,
you do, but when you're lying an end and you're lying 4 shots or 5 and whatever, you just want a ball just drifting around the corner. It's like, where's the danger? It's like, it's in David's hand, isn't it? On the mat there, because it's like it comes out and you think, oh my God, I didn't want you there.
I'm laughing at David's face there. It's just a picture.
True story. Yeah. Happened more than once.
Did you find the rivalry and the competitiveness between you actually made all of you better as well?
Yeah, probably. I probably had as good a record against Robert in singles in my younger days than anybody outside, not indoors. He beat me 21-0 indoors once in the club final. But yeah, I have beaten him. He
never lets you forget that one, or does he?
No, I don't forget it. But there we are. And the other one against in club singles final, 20-all, last bowl to win the match, and I bowled wrong bias. That's the honest truth.
God. See, everyone, it's easily done. The wrong bias is easily done.
And he's played a few of them in Welsh finals as well, let me tell you.
Well,
It's
you have to explain what happened there.
no,
I want to hear this
you
story.
played wrong bias, like. So anyway, no, we're on the ring 6, just under the clubhouse up in Landrindod.
Trial then, remember?
Oh, okay. But Dave's playing with blue balls. So, and let me point this out. Is my balls, because I don't think David's ever bought a set of balls. So
One set.
all the balls he's used are mine. Like, but anyway, we're blue stickers, but he's got blue balls. So on the mat, that looks like he's got it wrong in the hands, because you can tell, can't you? Yeah, sure enough, wrong bias. Like,
That's a
like
trial end.
David, concentrate. Like 2 balls later, wrong bias. So.
Well, it's out.
The sticker was on the wrong side on the one bowl.
If you got blue
You
balls,
changed the stickers out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you change the stickers?
No, he managed to do it himself, putting the stickers
The
on.
opposition changed them, actually.
But in terms of, I mean, for both of you, and I know obviously with the four brothers playing, there's a lot of success here, but a lot of success coming out of the disciplines for you two together as well. You got your 2 triples together. Rob, you've got obviously 5 pairs. David, 4 pairs wins. I'm assuming 4 of those were together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you mentioned the other one for you, Rob, was with John Price, good friend of ours. Or John Weale, sorry.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. His name is actually John Price Weale.
Yeah, that's quite strange, actually, yeah.
That's where you got it wrong when you did
I got it wrong, because didn't you win a pairs? Or was it against him? I can't remember. There was something I was researching the other day, and they come up with you and John Price, and I couldn't remember if it was because you played together. Or
Yeah.
it might have been the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I played with John in Commonwealth Games and
I
World
think it was the
Championships.
Commonwealth. That's where I made the
I've
mistake.
actually beaten John when he was playing with Jason Greenslade in Welsh pairs indoors. When I was playing with Gareth Wills. So that's maybe where you've seen that as well.
Yeah, I think it was the Commonwealth I mixed that one up with. Anyway, yeah, so, in terms of, it's not just the success, obviously, in one, the impressive part for me is the success across multiple disciplines, because I find, being brand new to the game, I'm still finding that every game's a little bit different. With your 4s, the game's a bit different depending on your position. Your 3s, then you got to kind of almost be able to play any shot the less people you have. If I find it's just kind of one of those weird, that changes a bit. So to have that success across all the disciplines is impressive.
Yeah, obviously different disciplines. Yeah, different game, isn't it?
We couldn't do the triples, though, could we? Nowhere near in the triples.
No, we didn't have. Yeah, triples took a long time to get in the bag, really, and I played a couple of different triple setups in my time as well, like with Wayne Phillips and Brian played triple. We actually lost in one Welsh final in that, and then subsequently we had to change a new triple, David and Dale Gorman, and then flip, we won the title and went back to back then
in the triples.
So
2014, 2015.
Yeah, like Buses comes along then, and then you do it again. So yeah, happy days.
I started winning a few senior ones now.
I wasn't going to bring that one up as the young one, but
yeah,
I wouldn't. It doesn't surprise me that you might be doing that. To be fair, I mean, no matter how you look at it, I think, you guys are the top quality bowlers even now. Whenever anyone mentions a Welsh player that, we obviously talked about with John Price when he had Pricey on, and he obviously sang his praises to you, Rob, and said you're probably one of the hardest people he had to play against, especially in Wales. He just found it hard to beat you at times.
Yeah, and obviously likewise with John, obviously indoor-wise, because there wasn't an indoor stadium in the locality, so obviously I'm starting indoors a little bit later. Yeah. The most we used to play on the roll-up carpets in Knighton and Landrindod Wells, and that's why I mentioned my Uncle John. John was the man who used to organise all that and take us round and travel there. So yeah, it was a little bit late starting. I did play down the Rhondda, and when I went down to Polytechnic, I was down there 3 years basically. So I played in the Rhondda, some great characters in that stadium. So I had a little bit of experience in grounding, but finishing college and being back in Mid Wales, I ended up actually playing in a stadium in England, in in Weale, just south of Hereford. It's about 4 or 5 miles outside. So I had maybe 2-3 years there, playing in English county championship and everything like that. I think you joined probably about a year after I was sort of down there.
Was it me? Well, Brindley Powell get us involved down Wormlow, didn't he? Because it was me, Brian, and Glenn Morehouse, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You know, we got into it.
We did. So bit of a obviously long answer to get into John Price, really, in that. So when I did start playing indoors up in Ranelagh, London or Wells, yeah, good runs in singles and whatever. But my first Welsh indoor title was against John, and without doubt, John is the king of Welsh indoor bowls, isn't he? You know, without question at all. John had, I think he's won the indoors probably 9 times.
He's
something like
pretty
that.
impressive, the resume of the indoor stuff.
But I know he sort of might have been even on a run of maybe about 4 on the trot at the time, whatever. But going into that, to beat John, you know, to win my first Welsh title against, as I say, the best indoor player, I think, that we've had in Wales, like, because his record is fantastic.
That's an accolade coming from Robert Weale, isn't it, to John Price.
I mean, that's the thing. You've got 2 names there that I think anyone who brings up Welsh legends in bowls, I think Rob and John Price are being brought up, you know.
Yeah, but as I say, but we had many battles like indoor, outdoor, but always got on. You never a crossword with John. So being opponents, teammates, and everything, that friendships obviously carried on, you know, and to get success with a great player like John, like some of the Commonwealth Games and that, no, it's just been brilliant.
Okay, so I'm going to have a little count. Welsh caps between you all. Welsh caps between you all.
None for me.
None? Never? Never?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Come on in. I could see his face. Let's get into it. Come on.
We did have a comment, obviously, from someone we asked to come on the podcast, and we did bring up your name and said the best player I've ever seen, most successful Welsh player without any cap. So I do believe that.
I do get told that a fair bit. Don't worry me. It probably did 20 years ago, but it don't worry me now. Because, as you said, I've 17 Welsh titles.
I've said titles speak themselves.
My goal is to get to 20, then, and I'll say I've done my bit then, and I'll be very happy. And I will get to 20.
And no one can take those away from you, that's for sure.
What about the other brothers? Is they represent?
Brian had an under-25 down in Ostergunlus, wasn't it, I think? One of the first under-25 internationals.
Okay.
Stuart hasn't.
Okay.
No. We played actually they played as a rink in the Welsh trial. 4 of us go in back at Landrindod. I go in probably early 90s, was it? Around that time.
Yeah.
Played the morning game. I can't remember who against. We had a very good win as a 4. Played in the afternoon, had another win. Not as good as the morning, but we won. And people said, they might play him as a rink. They might do that.
Yeah, that trial, I think we played William Thomas was skipping against us in the one. So I think we won by about 12 shots, I think. And then afternoon we played a rink skip by Andrew Atwood in that trial. Closer game, but we managed to win that one as well. So people are thinking that, do you know what? They might put them in as a rink. You never know, because we had probably won by that time, 2-3 Welsh titles, and a British Isles sort of title. But no, it never transpired. And David, you were reserved once.
Reserve up in air.
And that was it, I think.
Yeah, well, I think that was, we were in the pairs, weren't we? The British Isles pairs, and I think, we'll put him as a reserve to go there anyway. It's one less to pay for.
So no doubt, it's a massive oversight.
I can see where the muck-ups on the rink when you play it.
No, but it's an oversight by Wales, isn't it? That
it is what it is. You can't change it, but you can't never take all those titles. You've got them under the belt, and that's all.
Yeah, well, you win, 4s, pairs, triples, whatever. You don't win it on yourself, do you?
No, you don't.
That's the standard that Dave is. But myself, I managed to reach 115 caps of Wales, and obviously we only cap international appearances, don't we? Like the home internationals. So
never.
It'll be scary if you look at Welsh representation
I'll be a lot more.
World Commonwealth Games, Test matches, Atlantic Rim, whatever. Probably be a frightening number. of representative games for Wales. Indoor, I think it was around about 57, and then I played 3 series on the over 50s.
Right.
We played in that, and again, we did well down there, winning that a couple of times in that little group. But yeah, record outdoor caps holder anyway, so very pleased with that fact.
Before we go on to those big accolades, I just want to know what that dinner time was like at home, with all you boys sitting around the table having dinner. How many times did you have a row with your mother to be quiet and stop arguing about the bowls?
Oh, she was the boss, actually.
Well, I no doubt about that. Isn't it the same in every Welsh family?
Well, I suppose so. But we never really talked much about it, to be honest, did we? Analysed anything? Just got on with it.
Yeah, not really off the green as such.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
As in banter, talking.
Yeah, but it wasn't a major topic as such. It would be, I can beat you, or I'm going to beat you if we play in that. But what I would say is it was more on the green.
Yeah.
That, not issues, but some of the quirks. I can remember we probably British Isles champions the previous year.
Yeah.
So following year, we're rocking up to our first game in the county, and I'll be stood at the other end, trial end, and there's nobody throwing the jack. There's nobody throwing the jack. There's like that down the other end, and I'm like, what's going on? So David shouts, Brian won't play lead. He wants to play third. I'm like, well, I said, look, we won it as before in the positions we always play. I said, he needs to pick up the jack and he needs to throw the jack. No, nothing doing. And I'm like, do you know what? I said, I'm happy to go. I don't mind. Walk off and that's it. We're not playing. Jack comes flying up past me into the ditch. And so it's only generally been about those little positional changes and where somebody thinks, well, do you know what? I think I should be in a different position and David, you should be third or something like that.
Yeah.
But we've always got over it. And
Can that only happen with brothers, though? Because if it was
someone else,
you couldn't do
yeah,
it. But if it's just for me, I think that's really a good story to remember.
It is, because you're quite right. You couldn't get away with that, could you? Without that being family.
That had
Get
to be
away.
family.
You'd be dragged off a green pretty quickly by anyone watching that's in charge. If anyone did that.
The other one like that was when we played indoors in Weale, wasn't it? Remember?
Oh, this is. I was going to bring this up when you mentioned Weale. Shall I start it off? Because
go on.
Well, we're playing I think it was English fours, wasn't it? On a Sunday morning qualifier down in Wormlow. And I'm 100% sure it was me and Robert, Glenn Morehouse and Brian. And we're in the changing room getting ready. And it was quite a busy changing room, wasn't it? And Brian was getting changed. Backs. Put his white trousers on. And they come up to about his knees. And Brian's one of them, whatever. He just stood there looking, trying to get his trousers on. And Robert was looking at him. And I said, you got bloody Stuart's trousers. And Stuart is obviously quite young there. He went berserk in this changing room. Absolutely berserk.
As David said, he got them to his knees and he's like, but these are the only whites I've got. So honestly, he got them, he made them fit. But it was obviously so tight, couldn't move. And certainly if he tried to play a ball, he would have split. Anyway, he was like, I've got them on, I'm going to play in these. So I said, you walk out that changing room. I'm in the car. I've gone. So we managed to get find some in the lockers and find a pair about 3 sizes too big, but
baggy, and
that was far better.
Did you win the game?
I think we did. Yeah, I think we managed to get it.
It was a silly question.
Didn't matter then, did it? Because it's more about.
But isn't that fun?
Remembering
these little stories, I think, are the brilliant things that you go back in your that's what Bowls has brought you. All these memories that they brought, Bowls has brought you, Brill. Before we go, and I did say we go on the accolades. It's funny, isn't it? Because obviously up in Mid Wales here, we talked to Anwen Button. And Anwen had this, they've been successful as a family, they, in their way. And there was somebody else I was thinking, but they said they struggled with indoors as well because of where they lived.
Not a lot of indoor they said representation of indoor is quite spread out. Mid Wales, North Wales.
Yeah, there was one in Mehontleth, and that's only 4 rinks. And Welshpool, they're like leisure centres, 4 rinkers in leisure centres. But Radnor is the one in Landrin. It's the only 6 rinker around our way.
From here.
Yeah, I was just going to raise that. You know, you mentioned rural areas like, you know, Cardiganshire, Mid Wales, Montgomery. So it's always, and even outdoor, it's always an effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
More travel and whatever. But for me, when living in Prestine, Landrin, North Wales would be, you're talking 30 minutes, 35 minutes just to get up. But I've lived down Hereford now for 30 years.
Yeah.
So basically, for me, it's always an hour. And that's one way, obviously. So it is, you know, a lot of travelling, a lot of effort over the years to do that. And then when I moved down to Islwyn, Pot and Fryth, played down there for many years, again, it's an hour one way. So that does make it harder, doesn't it, with work, life and planning, you know.
Our league games, as Robert says, were rural. Like, we go to Brecon.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to Brecon on a Wednesday night from here?
Yeah.
You know, it's...
and it's not so much sometimes the distance, it's the time.
Well, finishing work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Brian finishes work, he gets home 5:15, and you're going to be at Brecon for 6:30. You know, it's not easy.
No.
You'll be cutting through the through the fields, saying hello to the sheep to try and get there on time half the time.
And it's like when I was playing, obviously a lot of indoor balls, you know, so it's round the clock. But with work, you wouldn't see daylight basically.
No.
You go to work, finish work, straight in the car, down to play balls, and then you finish in 10, 10:30, and you're back, you know, 11:30 to midnight.
Well,
So
one
it's a lot of
story,
effort, isn't it?
yeah, well, one story, wasn't it? Before the Mid Wales county competitions were separate to Welsh, you paid them separately,
Right.
and the Mid Wales semi-finals were Llandovery. I don't know if you know Llandovery.
I know, yeah.
Robert had got through in at least 4, if not 5. And on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Dad had to take him to Llandovery
Wow.
every night of the week.
And that's a good travel from here.
Yeah.
That is a good travel.
Yeah,
It is
it's
a
a
good-
long way.
Okay. So, the big accolades. What was the first one after you done the Welsh and the titles you had? What was the first? Was it Commonwealth Games was the first, or was it something else that came along before then? I know Matthew's done some research. He's looking over there. Do you want to take over what you got, Matt?
From what I can see on the digging I did, the 1986 Edinburgh Commonwealth Games gold medal in the men's fours was the first one I found.
Yeah, so that's the first win in a major championship.
Yeah.
So I guess just a little bit of a potted sort of introduction into that. Yeah, Welsh Cup in 1982. So managed to get into the Welsh team again, because here and number of players representing Wales quite thin, really. Not many. Sort of Brian Morn would have been like prior to me in international and whatever. So yeah, didn't really know much about it, but got in the Welsh team on the map, led well for, you know, the first few series. Got selected for 1984 World Championships in Aberdeen. Again, great experience there. Bryn Hawkins, Danny Price in the rink there. But yeah, obviously played okay there. We didn't sort of threaten the medals during those games. But yeah, so selection for Edinburgh Commonwealth Games 86 and managed to come away with gold medal. So
That was in the rinks?
it was
In
rings.
the
It was in the
fours, yeah.
fours.
Can you
So
remember the four?
yeah, Jim Morgan, skipping, Havard Thomas third, William Thomas second, and myself on the mat. So yeah, fantastic, solid ring. Jim Morgan, such a great skip, you know, commanding, you know, the rink, tactically very astute, playing the game. Havard, listen, it is weird because Havard didn't get a Welsh cap after that, which is very surprising. Like, but Havard, more flamboyant and bouncing, you know, off Jimmy. He was a joker in the pack.
Yeah.
And then William Thomas, like, had many trips and international games at will.
He plays down in Pontrhydyfen End, doesn't he?
Correct.
I think,
Yeah. Such a steady guy, class act, and you know what you get with Will. And yeah, so we got over the line in that. I think there was 13 teams in the group. I think we came away with a record of winning 9 games, drawing 1, and top the table by 2 points to win the gold, because you played everybody.
Okay.
No sectional play at that time.
You know, we're not going to go through obviously all of them because there are quite a few. We'll pick and choose, but obviously that was the first gold medal in the Commonwealth Games. We'll stick with the Commonwealth Games. 6 medals overall. Funny enough, and I know, you know, the success speaks for itself. 3 silvers and a bronze and another gold then. The other gold came in your last then. So your first and last were your golds, and then the ones in between were always that little bit. When you played, and kind of goes into a question I had for both of you a little bit, but I will have your input on this after, Robert. But once you play that first one, you see success. And then a couple of times you're either, you know, bronze or silver. And does it get to a point where you think, I may never get that gold again? Or was it kind of almost like a desire to continue to try and get that another gold for you?
I think you always set targets during your career, and that was certainly a target of mine from, you know, winning that gold in 86. Realising that obviously that is something that doesn't happen every day to players. It's you know, an infrequent thing, isn't it? Wales winning you know, gold in Commonwealth Games, and let alone bowls. Like, you know, we could take all the other sports and whatever. So you set yourself targets about, I want to be in the next games, but a lot of factors behind that, isn't there? You continue to play the game, continue to get success domestically. So 1990 played in the pairs with William, and again, it was split into 2 groups. That we lost 1 game in the group, so we don't qualify for the final. So we're just missing out. And in those games, you had to play off for the bronze. It wasn't awarded like as a bronze medal.
Yeah.
And we just lost in the playoff there. So again, that little disappointment drives you on again, you know, to get selection for the next one.
So then the 94 silver came in for the pairs then after that.
So that's with John Price.
Yep. I think that was the one I mixed
so
up.
that's with John Price over in Victoria, Canada.
Yep. And then obviously 98 pairs of silver again 4 years later.
So that's Malaysia, that's in Kuala Lumpur, and that's with William Thomas.
Yeah. 2002 bronze singles.
Correct.
In Manchester.
So that was Manchester Games, wasn't it? Yeah. So a bit wet and sloppy in Manchester.
And then obviously you went on a couple of runs, because I believe Commonwealth every 3 years or every 2?
Every 4.
Every 4 years. So then 2006 silver medal in the singles, so you kind of won up from the previous games in Melbourne. And then 2010 gold medal then in the singles.
Yeah, so obviously the story on the singles would be, you know, look at it. Singles it is. We all accept it's a blue ribbon event. You know, get us all off the bowls game. I thought I played well in Manchester, just missing out in the semi-final. So it's like unfinished business. Get there again, get the singles berth, you know. In Melbourne, that final against Kelvin, thought I played the better bowls. Somehow lost the first set in that one, 7-4, and I thought I was, you know, on top, but Kelvin's like got away with a few drives and that. Won the second set comfortably, and then the tie break. I'm actually holding game for gold medal. I know my dad's in the stand behind me, and I've got my fingers crossed like that, you know. Kelvin plays a ball, and I could see in his face that he didn't think he had released the ball as he wanted to. I was like, I've got this. Got the gold. Like, somehow on his path up the green, it sort of got a little kick. And you know that sometimes it, you know, a little straight in it.
Little runner, yeah.
It runs a little bit more, and it just crept into the head. Looking at it, it's a measure.
Yeah.
And I lose the measure on that, and then lose the last end. So again, it's like coming away thinking, so close, not disappoint. I've got silver medal, but it was like, listen, it's not gold.
Yeah.
So that was a driving factor there to get to Delhi and try and get over the line. But so to do that, 3 consecutive games and improve that colour of the medal, I think that's one of my best achievements.
Yeah.
To do that in that singles.
And especially when it comes to the I think, your Commonwealth is kind of almost like, it is kind of your Olympics for bowls. It's kind of the highest ordeal you could probably play that's not Olympics, but, somewhat similar in terms of, you get the medals and stuff. To get 2 gold medals, 1 gold medal is impressive, but to get, 2 in different games and across that many, they say that many years, it's one of those.
To win any medals in any games is such an achievement. I just want to come away from you a second. I want to bring Brian in. The family,
David.
Jesus, sorry, David. I'm Brian in my head, and I was thinking of him putting them trousers
He does this all the time. Don't take it personally.
He's not far away. He only lives in that house there.
David, as a family, seeing your brother going through these Commonwealth Games and success, obviously I would imagine nothing but pride in your brothers, yeah?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm one of the worst watchers there is. I know, Pierce. I don't really enjoy watching the game, but obviously like playing. Watching is so difficult because you're thinking he should do this. Is he going to do that? And all,
Yeah.
And
his game probably better
I know
than
it
most.
inside out. I always found it quite hard to watch.
Did you go to any of the Commonwealth Games to watch him?
No.
No, not
No, too far.
not even in Manchester.
No, I never. Did Dad go to Manchester? I can't remember.
Yeah, Dad would have been.
Yeah. No, I never went up to Manchester.
No.
But when he played Kelvin Kirkhoe in the final, I came home from work because it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and they let me come up home to watch it on telly from work. Yeah, but as I say, it's hard watch, and our biggest supporter is obviously was Mother,
Right.
and she'd have the telly on, and she'd have her hand over her eyes watching, and sometimes if something went wrong or he did something wrong, Mother would never be frightened to say what she thought, and it was quite explicit sometimes. But she was probably Robert's biggest supporter ever and supporter ever. But no, I always found it like when we went to Preston watching the games, or when he was at Potter's. I can't sit still. I was at the back.
You did go to watch him.
Yeah, Potter's and things in Preston. Yeah, but as I say, I can't sit still and watch it. Like my wife Helen would tell you, she'd tell me off. You can't keep doing that. Like as I say, Potter's is like right at the very back of the stands. You could go up and down, whatever.
Yeah.
And as I say, that's what I used to do. I just not good watcher at all.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good to hear that he did watch.
Yeah, that is nice to know that he did watch you, isn't it? Thank you.
I mean, obviously, you mentioned Potters, but spectating in Potters is as boring as it gets for me, I think. It's one of those. It's hard because the bowls is fantastic. Especially this year. The bowls this year was phenomenal, but I find it very...
Were you got any more on that list before we
There's loads, but I want to kind of jump to the British Isles, because the British Isles, obviously, both of you would have taken part in after winning the respective nationals. 4 gold medals in the fours. That in itself is pretty impressive. After the success in the Welsh fours and stuff, and going to the British, obviously, there's some gaps between the fours. There's not always, it never goes the way you want every year. And obviously we mentioned that with Rob there. But, you won gold in 1993, gold in 1997, gold in 2011, gold in 2017. That's what I got here. I don't know if that's correct.
Was that first one, was Dad in that drink then?
No,
because the first was 8.
So 84, 85.
Yeah, so we'd have played in Worthing in 85 in that.
Yeah.
And we lost in the final to England. And yeah, hold my hands up. I didn't have the best game in that one. But I had qualified for the under-25s. And later in the afternoon, I had the under-25s final. So my dad, who obviously always said the right thing, it was like, look, don't worry, son. You didn't play at your best, and that would have been fantastic to win that fours. he said, this is more important.
Yeah.
You go out and win that under-25s title, which I managed to do.
Yeah.
So, thanks for, wise words from Dad, and that's what got that one in the bag. But 93, as you say, was the first win. And, I think that's probably one of the most emotional games that I've had in finishes, because that realisation that you are going to be British champions, 4 brothers, it was just something else. That
Never in Wales, though. You never won it in Wales.
No?
Nope.
Well, the
British
Isles. So you never won a home British Isles. All come away.
So where was the first one? That first one in, where was that?
It doesn't say any. I wouldn't know.
When we lost in the final, first one was Worthing. The one that we won for the first time, 93, that was Worthing. The last one, 17, was over in Ireland, in Belmont. And
97.
the other one, that was up in Scotland. Metal Hell. So that was a good one, because we had a bit of friction on the green against the Scottish skip.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Is Steve going to tell us?
No, I can just remember the skipper against Robert. He was
Ian Campbell.
Yeah, they were trying to wind him up a bit, and
it didn't work, clearly.
Well, there's one thing sometimes. Brian isn't frightened what he's saying sometimes in these games when people start like that, and I think
it was just from the very first end, and
niggly.
Ian Campbell, he's a big fella, can't like to try and intimidate and whatever, but no, first end, I think Scotland line a couple. Brian had actually played 2 short bowls and was 4 or 5 feet down the green. So all I did was call Stuart. I said, look, want you to reach between our bowls, catch Scottish bowls or jack, turn it through. Stuart played the shot right weight. He just gets a little feather off one of Brian's bowls and collects the jack and spreads it out. And Campbell just goes, lucky, whatever. That shouldn't be doing that and whatever. And I just straight in the eyes, like, stared him out and just said, you don't know what you're on about. I've called the shot. He's played the weight. He's got it. Shut up. And that was he sniggled all the way through the game. And then he was shouting at rubbish and shouting for flicks and
I mean, I get it. So it happens in bowls more often than you might think, because a lot of people who play bowls are very competitive. They want to win. You can get caught up in the moment a little bit. We had an incident a couple of weeks ago where caught in the incident. You call for an edge, or what we call an edge, but a flick or a wick, if you will. And you kind of cheer it without thinking because you're losing by a few, or you feel like you're playing well and should be winning. You can get caught in the moment, but and I think it's, as long as you shake hands after the game, you're all right. I
was going to add that in that. Listen, you play hard on the green if you have to, but it's still respect the game and respect your opponent, because even after that we're off the green, we're shaking hands, we're having a beer and whatever. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and you know what? If I was him, I would be trying to be in your head as well, because you're too good to not be.
Well, yeah, if it was us, because we probably
you make your own luck, don't you?
Yeah,
you make your, because I never have no luck.
So Dave, I want to ask you a similar question. Obviously, a lot of success in the events. After a while, you get your few, you win in 3 or 4 titles. Does it get easier to win the rest, or do you feel like there's a little bit more pressure on you because people are just expecting you to win? You're entering the same 4 every year. You've seen that success quite frequently, or quite often enough for people to talk. Is it quite nerve-wracking to win more, or is it just kind of once they come?
I don't find it nerve-wracking. Yeah. You start each season and you start off through your county and everything, and it's just normal. You know what I mean? Okay. You just get through, but you probably find when you get to the Welsh, it's never worried me, and I'm sure it doesn't worry Robert. You let the opposition worry about you, type of thing, more than anything, because you hear people say, "No, we're playing."
Did the
Weale boys
change for you then? Was it just like, more you won, we were like, we could go a little bit further this year, get you? Or was it just the same goal every year and see what happens?
See what happens. Yeah, you can't expect to win. You definitely can't expect to win, because you could be the best player or the best team and you lose. Yeah. It's the nature of the game.
You know,
Simple as.
there's quite a bit of luck sometimes involved, and a bit of bad luck, a bit of good luck. One shot goes one way, one goes the other, and it can change the
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
team.
I would say it wouldn't be expectation going up because there's no givens in the game anyway. You've got to perform and you've got to earn it. What I would say is that if we were had played well enough to get to a final, I think it was the experience then of that occasion which helped us out a lot of times. In that I don't think we've lost
a final in the Fours.
A Welsh Fours final.
No.
Yeah.
So
that's impressive.
It's
Is
the
that
experience of the occasion, I think.
Yeah, you've been there before. You've done it before. Once you've done it 2-3 times, it's just
Yeah, I think as I say, there's no given. It's hard to get there. But I think once you're in a final, it was maybe that bit of experience which does give you a slight edge on time. So
you know, and I think you might have hit it on the head there as well. Is, you know, if an inexperienced team or a team that's fairly relatively new comes up against the four of you, you know, kind of after the 5th or 6th title, they're probably looking at you like giants at the moment, and they're probably nervous to play against such a successful four, thinking, what do we do? Like,
I always find, especially when you start off in the county when we are really going well, that the fours against you would raise their game.
Yeah,
they really would. Yeah, especially in the county, because you
can see it a lot of the times as well. Yeah, if you know you're playing someone really well. It's happened to me a couple of times where I've been playing. I've seen the people across me, even though I'm very new to bowls, you know, only my 3rd year playing, and I know the stories and the history behind certain people, and I'm like sitting there going, "How the hell are we going to do any?" And you find that sometimes your game does get lifted from playing that.
Well, the thing is as well, you know, people, you know, we get told our area is easy to get through and whatever. But you've got to say, Mid Wales is a smaller county, but there's no easy games. No easy games. And, you know, like if we have, say, 24 rink centre or whatever, 9 times to 10, we're only playing 1 round less to qualify than a lot of the big counties, you know, because like 48 down to 24, you know, there's a big difference. Yeah. We're not that far behind, but getting out of your county is still hard. As I say, people look to beat us, don't they?
Excuse me. No, most definitely. But I was going to add as well about that success in that I mentioned about the rink and the composition of that and everybody doing their job. What I used to find is that in critical situations in a game, particularly at the back end of a game, when if it's tight or whatever, there was always somebody stepping up and doing their job just at the right time. Yeah. You know, Brian was suddenly, you know, find 2-3 ends that he'd be 2 balls round the jack. Or if Brian missed like on different times, Stuart, who doesn't say a lot, whatever, just go, Stuart, I want that. Oh yeah, okay, no worries. And he'll produce the goods. So I think it was that, and you know, likewise David or myself pulling out a big ball. You know, and that's just not that's in any, you know, you take that and that's in your internationals, any rink in Wales want to do that, or any team at Commonwealth and that, you need to step up at critical times in the game and produce the goods.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it on there earlier when you said that you're not the only one winning in that rink. You know, it doesn't just come down to solely one person. And I think, you know, if the team themselves, they have a step up moment and the one person does their job well for a few ends, and then the next person comes along and helps out a little bit. There's a few times, you know, when I first started, I had a lead for me called Ken Taylor. You know, and some of the best couple of games I had was behind him at 2, and he was a decent lead. You don't get me wrong, he was, you know, he weren't top notch. He's not, you know, your international levels as such.
But speaking now, cutting the green,
he knows. But every now and again, he had a bad end. He'd turn around and say, "Help me out." Now I'm a first year bowler, thinking, why on earth is this person who's been bowling 25 years, who knows exactly, you know, he was a good bowler. Don't get me wrong, but asking me, and then all of a sudden you find that you would put a couple there, you know, and it's having that faith in each other to win. You know, how many of the titles you've won.
It's key in team sport, isn't it? Yeah. You know, helping each other out and digging, you know, others out of situations sometimes.
I do want to sort of finish this sort of part this first, because we've gone on a good hour now plus, and it's time has just gone like that, hasn't it? So I want to talk about your recent trip to Kuala Lumpur. Huge accolade for you. Introduction into the World Bowls Hall of Fame. Your thoughts, your feelings?
Yeah, just wow, really, isn't it? It's what an accolade to be one of the bowlers, on that list, inaugural introduction. So I found out that I was going to be inducted during last year's outdoor finals up in Landrenod. So Nick Harris came along. I walked in through the door one morning, play a game, and Nick was on me straight away, and it was like, Rob, it's good news. It's good news. Like, don't worry. I was like, well, what's happening here? But Nick was like, no, this is confidential, but we've received notification. Welsh Lawn Bowls have received this notification about my induction. At the time, because I obviously got a game to play, and I didn't really think too much about it.
Yeah.
Sink in, I had to keep it secret and whatever. But then as I thought about it, it was like, wow, listen, there's 31 bowlers across the world.
Yeah.
Only one in Wales?
Yeah,
Only one in
and
Wales.
so history of the game, and I'm one of those. So, yeah, it's just a feeling of immense pride. And I would say just obviously not for me, but
Yeah.
family, all everybody who supported me through, and I'll take it through the club, county, and a big accolade for Welsh Bowls just to be the only Welsh person on that list.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's one of those situations where no one could take that. Again, no one could take that. You're one of the first names out of 31 that will ever be put into that World Bowls Hall of Fame.
Huge.
Yeah, as I say, obviously to be considered and to be part of that committee's discussion, I guess, about the players who are going to make that list and be deemed worthy of such an honour. Listen, you don't start the game at 11,
No,
thinking that you will be there and part of that. So yeah, it's just amazing.
Especially I think in Welsh sports. I think Welsh sports are always seem to be there but never there. They're always like, they can do well, but you'd never pick them as the top handful of countries to ever really make a difference. In most sports we do, really, rugby, football, bowl, golf, whatever you want to call it. But for you to be able to have that achievement, like I said, it's a fantastic achievement, and we're thrilled to be able to sit here.
Our little podcast is
about it, yeah.
Can I ask one thing? Obviously, you talk about Dad. Is Mum still with you?
No, unfortunately, we lost Mum a few years ago now,
Okay,
sadly. But she was, as David said, number one fan.
Yeah. That must have been tough for you when you go to Kuala Lumpur, and I'm sure little thoughts. I've lost both my parents, and little thoughts go back to Mum, and you think how proud she would be looking down at you, having started off at 11 and watching you all them years coming through.
I think her proudest moment, winning the medals, yeah, but I think her proudest moment when he carried the Welsh flag in the opening ceremony.
Right.
In one of the games. You got the photo over there. And I think that was the one that she really did.
Yeah. Listen, Mum used to keep everything, all newspaper cuttings, and this is
Still up at home, isn't they?
Yeah, this is probably pre-bowls, even be youth club winning a darts tournament.
When you played
the scrapbook,
you played Leighton Reese, didn't you?
Played Leighton Reese,
Never.
played Alan Evans, and it used to be tidy at darts. Maybe I chose the wrong sport, cash wise, but no. Listen, she kept everything like so. Yeah, she would have been so proud of that, and for the dinner to be over in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, carried the flag in '98 there. That's when obviously the family said, look, you got to go, you got to travel there, you got to go back there. So Dad went to Malaysia as well when I carried that flag. So to be walking out 100,000 stadium, knowing your dad's sort of sitting there watching you, yeah, your chest is puffed out like that. So it would have been great to take Dad back to Malaysia back in obviously November, but listen, Dad's 88 now, a little bit dicky on with his knee, and with the humidity over there, it just wasn't possible, to take Dad out. So hard decision, but if I'm taking a brother, which one do you take? So I ended up taking Philip Weale from lad I met over in Kuala Lumpur at the time during the games in '98. Just met on the street because I was looking for Dad's hotel. This guy spoke to me, put me right, pointed where Dad's hotel was, and we've been friends ever since. So,
Wow.
so that's friendships you gain in bowls, isn't it? And that's why I took Philip along, and we had a good time over there.
Well, congratulations. We got to say that. It's a huge achievement. No MB?
He's
No,
been
there's
put
no-
up for that about 4 times.
No MB?
No, there's nothing behind my name at the minute. So
At the minute.
At the minute.
yeah, obviously
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I know.
That's
But,
obviously out of my control.
Out of your control, that one. I'm going to say this. Are you gents okay to carry on talking a little bit longer? Or are you in a rush for anything? 'Cause
No, you're okay.
Robert, are you all
The
right?
bar's open at 12. So
I know
you're-
that, yeah.
You can all right for half an hour or so.
Are you all right to carry on for a bit?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Should we take a little break and then come back as a sort of a second part and we just carry on
I
from it?
don't think there's a lot more to talk about.
Well, I got a little bit to talk about. Yeah.
If you would like to, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Let's take a little break. We'll be back with you very soon.
Yeah.
So, welcome back. We had a quick little break there. Thank you, gents, for your time again. I just wanted to move on, really, to talk about our current crop of international players. You know, we talk about them, and the first person who's obviously comes to our minds, really, is Ross Owen. Ross doing quite well, ranked in the world at number 4.
Oh, I think he is one.
Yeah.
Was 2 for a while.
Yeah, could
Up
be.
to 2.
Yeah, you know, and in the off break, you talked a little bit about darts and Leighton Rees, and I think of Ross and Danny Davis Jr., who just become first ever world champions in
Cup, yeah.
in
Won the
bowls,
World
world
Cup.
champions. Now the first darts world champion was actually Leighton Rees, so it's just a little bit of a history thing that Wales, the Welsh player in darts, won the first world championship of darts, and the very first world championship of bowls was won by 2 Welsh boys. So it's a good bit of history there. Now.
Yeah, good link there. Leighton obviously after playing me, picked up his game then.
Yeah,
didn't
but
he,
you did tell us in the thing that you played Leighton Rees in darts. So
Exactly.
how old were you then?
I would have only been 15, 16, I think, at the time.
Well, you were playing youth club darts, weren't you, then?
So, but a big man, Leighton Rees, in his time when he was a big old man.
He was a big man, yeah.
Anyway,
Definitely.
back to Ross.
No, you mentioned Ross and the World Cup there and Danny. So yeah, that was so great. That was part of my trip, managing to witness the first World Cup and the Welsh players there. And I was so pleased for Ross and Danny to get over that line against Scotland.
Yeah.
Paul Foster and Jason Baggs, a very strong pair in that final. Listen, the boys, as I say, I witnessed it.
Yeah.
It really did make my trip, and they played some great bowls, so Ross on, fourth on that ranking list. Will bowls are making an effort, I think, at the moment, which is good to see on the socials. Getting this ranking list out, development tournaments, adding more tournaments onto that, so we've got that exposure.
Yeah, and I think, was it, I can't remember where it was now, excuse my age, but Carl Wood and Dan Salmon went out to
Hong Kong.
And I think Dan came away with a bronze.
Yeah.
Didn't Dan, was he in the final of the singles?
Silver.
Was he silver, was it?
Yeah,
But he certainly medalled there.
It's silver or bronze. I think he lost to the New Zealander in the game I watched on.
It's a final, isn't it?
No, I
He
think
was
I think
a
it's
fight.
silver, you're right.
Right, my fault then.
yeah. So, but yeah, obviously you mentioning the prominent male bowlers in Wales at this kind of moment in time. I would say Ross is obviously the prime man as we speak, really. Ross has been on the scene, seems like, forever,
Well,
really.
yeah.
I did play, Ross had his World Championships outdoors in New Zealand in 2016. I was part of that team, so new kid on the block. Wasn't the best games for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was struggling just a little bit at the time there. But Ross has, come on in leaps and bounds, and certainly is the prominent player in Wales. He's making his mark, isn't he, regarding
Seems to
Welsh
be.
titles and a man to beat,
Well,
definitely.
British Isles, and also talked about the success. I believe he ended up winning the fours the year after you did. In 2017, he won it in 2018 with his four. He was 2024 British Isles singles winner.
And the reason I went on to that really was Commonwealth Games coming up. Yeah, Commonwealth Games coming up. I could ask both of you your opinion. How many players are they going to pick? Are they going to pick? They either pick 2 or 3.
Two or three that you can take.
And then we got Jared Breen, and
I don't think Jared's playing it. I was told in Cardiff that I think Jared's been asked to be left out.
right.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But from a good friend of Jared.
Okay.
So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
You got Jared
So-
and Dan.
So interesting, like Jared's choice or
Jared's choice.
Jared's choice. Okay,
Jared's
so
choice, yeah.
whether family, work commitments, whatever,
I believe
with Jared.
I believe
so,
work commitments, yeah.
okay, that's interesting. But yeah, for I think we're lucky that obviously Commonwealth Games has survived for this year.
Yeah.
Great of Scotland and Glasgow to rescue this really from Victoria pulling out. Really, I thought it's going to be the end of the game. So and Bowles has made the cut for one of the sports. So brilliant. And you're right, it's singles and pairs, isn't it? So cutthroat selection.
Straight over a week straight, no
Yeah.
breaks.
Indoors.
On an indoor carpet,
It's indoors as well on a portable rink.
But
Which
picked by Welsh Lawn Bowls picking the team, yeah?
it's Welsh Lawn Bowls, I believe,
Yeah.
will be picking the team. So do they go 2 players or 3? I think they'll probably opt for the 3 players.
I think 3 should be. I mean, you look at the schedule as a week straight. You put someone in singles and pairs. If you want the best chance, I think, of doing well in both, I think for one person to do both pairs and singles just seems like a long week. And you talk about it. A week straight to bowls, and I'm going to play maybe 2 games in a day and stuff.
I'm looking at David. David, any thoughts?
Well, not really. It's just going to be so difficult. Isn't it? So, as you say, the Welsh Lawn Bowls are picking it.
Yeah.
But obviously these boys I would imagine, are having to play a lot of indoor
Yeah.
now. And are they going to be allowed to play outdoor when outdoor starts, or are they going to stick to indoor?
Well, it's interesting because England have already
they nominated yesterday, didn't they?
Well, I think they nominated
Last week.
Last week was
wasn't
it? Yeah.
So the
week.
selection's made, isn't it?
Selection's
And
made.
I guess it's just going to be ratified. But good team that they've selected.
But at least they know now, don't they? If they're going to play indoor,
Indoors.
they're going to start the season. Are they not going to play outdoor because they're going to stay on the on the indoor carpet and keep going? Or it'd be interesting.
Well,
to see
I
what
mean,
happens.
it depends on when this comes out, but they had a meeting in Cardiff yesterday when we were in Cardiff playing, and it sounds like at the end of March that they're going to pick the Welsh teams. From what I heard, the rumour was end of March. After
So are they going to be allowed to play outdoor comps?
I don't know. What's your thoughts, Rob? What would you say to him?
But
Your thoughts, just your personal opinion. It's not a
I'll be playing bowls.
Yeah.
So whether that be outdoor or indoor, I wouldn't just specialise if it's post-selection or whatever, just concentrate on indoor bowls. Look, these guys at the level they need to be are talented and wise enough to adjust, to surfaces anyway. So it's playing the game. You need to get out. So whether that's indoor or outdoor, whatever. But I saw on the Welsh Lawn Bowls calendar that there are a series of test or preparation matches against England.
Yeah.
I think in Desborough. So that is firmly on the schedule. That that is the preparation schedule for the team. Listen, players in prominent positions. Obviously, Ross, isn't it? Be interesting if Jared is totally out. Or
Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I will say that that's what I was told yesterday, that he has been asked to be left out. But
yeah.
that's true or not.
Okay, so
you call that, isn't it?
It will be a big call.
Because obviously they're defending champions, I believe.
Yeah,
Jared and Dan Salmon.
So Jared, Dan Salmon, pairs gold medalist. Dan obviously being a double gold medalist back to back in the pairs.
Yeah.
Be a brave man who admits Dan Salmon from selection, and obviously be looking, I would say, as the lead in the pairs again. Keep that position. That would be my opinion. Other players round about, Danny,
and then you've got
Junior's done himself no harm, has he?
World champions
supporting and winning that with Ross over in Malaysia.
Yeah,
Carl Wood is peak performer, isn't he? At the moment, he's played and listen, he's taken that game indoors and out.
Yeah,
that he's been very successful over the last couple of years.
If Jared does want to be, then you've got 6 quality names there from Welsh bowls that could all be picked.
And there's a number of others, I suppose, on the fringes that could.
Well, Owain Dando is probably would be next in line.
Yeah,
doing well for himself. You
got to look at the previous games, haven't you? And
I think so.
The boys, produced strong performance in Birmingham.
Very big, very big.
Yeah, I was lucky to be obviously part of that group and managing the guys there. So, listen, we came away with gold in the pairs and bronze in the triples. Probably should have, in my opinion, already chatted to the lads, got something in the fours.
Yeah.
The quarterfinal against Ireland didn't go our way, but a strong group of players, mention Owen, Tomo not playing balls at the moment, I believe, but maybe signs that Tomo could be back on the green, but certainly wouldn't be, looking at ban this selection.
And I think in terms of that selection, there's always going to be a handful of people that are going to be disappointed, with the way that obviously only pairs and singles, 3 people going max. You can't take everyone, unfortunately.
It's the nature of it now, isn't it, unfortunately? Over my career, games has been sometimes 7 players. It's been down to 5, where you're playing 2 events, and now you're down to 3. So, aspiring bowlers now, they're looking at it is the elite, isn't it? And with that, by the very nature, it just becomes that much, tougher to get into that side.
And then we're going to move to the ladies' side.
It's even harder for me.
Oh, goodness.
Hand over to David on this one. No.
So we got interesting is obviously we first person you'd think about is going to be Amy Williams. I would have thought
in my
Caroline Taylor,
Lord Gowan.
Yeah,
I would imagine the ladies' team could be harder to pick than the men's team.
I think the women will be harder to pick than the men.
I think Anwin's got in her team got a few hard choices there.
She does, and there's a certain Weale that could be back as well, is there?
Well, Joanne didn't do too badly at all in the internationals last year, but
it's going to be tough, isn't it?
It is going to be a tough selection, obviously for the ladies. Listen, Amy and Caroline in a good position, I would say, because they've been over to Malaysia in that World Cup. They've experienced the portable ring. I had a chat with Amy over there. It is about playing in those games at that level, getting that experience and getting that in the bank and learning from it.
I've got to say, they were very unlucky out in Malaysia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did they lose in the...
Well, Amy, I think, lost
stages?
Either 3 or 4 tiebreakers. It was how close
she played some, fabulous bowls, and it could have gone either, and it's fine margins, as we all know, but...
And that is, again, another difference, isn't it, regarding the very nature, the format of the game. It's being reduced. 2 sets, 1 end shootout.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely cutthroat.
What makes a difference then?
Yeah, and it could be one fortunate ball.
Yep.
Which wins you the game. You could be off target and have a flick, and you could actually.
Would that be better being 3 ends on a tie break? Do you think?
For me, on particularly the importance of the competition, it should be longer, in my opinion. we took look at other sports, and you take your darts and your snooker, like any, the major Jolly World champions, whatever.
Yeah.
The format is elongated. It's a longer format to bring out your champion, isn't it?
Yeah.
We seem to be in bowls and
Reducing.
maybe we're bending over, whatever, but we're reducing.
Trying to make it quicker and
Quicker,
more exciting.
Yeah, get on, get off type of thing.
Yeah, even if it was 3 sets, and you lose the first 2, then okay, you've lost the first 2. But if you half the first one or lose the first one and you win the second one, it's not just one end. I think a whole set would be a better option.
Well, at least 3 ends anyway.
Yeah.
As I was going to say, look, if you're going to keep it to 2 sets and it goes into a tie break, I would certainly have a 3-end shootout, and bowls count, not just winning the end. Number of bowls count.
Yeah.
You score a 3, those 3 go on the board. That's what we played in Delhi, shootout there. And I think, when you're going down with just one ball, wins the end, and it's, you get nothing else.
Makes it more of a lottery.
Shots count, in my opinion.
We will say good luck to everybody in selection. Hope it comes up right for you. But
definitely good luck, guys.
And do us proud.
All the best to everybody.
We'll quick one.
I got a lot more to say yet.
But in terms of, obviously, like we talked about the next generation of bowlers, we talk about people like Ross, people like Amy, Lauren Gowan. We'll talk about you're 35 and under still seems to be that kind of that young core in bowls. I keep forgetting how young Ross and Amy are still early 30s themselves.
I'd say Amy's about 21.
Oh yeah, getting out good books. So we're talking about these people as if they're super experienced, but reality of bowls is, they got the experience, but there's many years left to come out of these.
That's a good question for you there. On that experience, did you find that the bigger competitions give you that more experience? Because that's what they tend to do with lots of sports now. They play in the bigger competitions against the best players all the time. And is that what gives you the experience? Or
No, definitely. Just being in and around events of that stature, it just gives you that experience, even if it's just your travel, overseas, experiencing different things, different cultures, and then playing different games on different surfaces, so that's where I guess I've been able to make an impact, across indoors and outdoors. It's because my adaptability and being able to play on the quickest greens outdoors to some of the slowest and also trickiest, just having that patience and adaptability to do that.
Yeah.
So that's where you gain the experience. You soak it in, don't you? You've just got to soak that in, and that's what these players are being exposed to now. So Ross, as I say, I've mentioned like that 2016, but he's gaining experience and all the time now. And I know
he's got a very good temperament, though. Hasn't he?
Listen,
similar to you.
Nicest people I've ever met, Ross.
Ross wants to learn and listen. I can't speak highly enough of him.
Yeah.
In that respect, and his approach to the game and what he wants to achieve. And I know he's desperate for, a gold medal in a Commonwealth Games, or a World Championships. He's getting there. He's getting close. But supported by, his men's team, ladies team. That Amy's gaining it, isn't it? As I said, I had a chat with, short chat with Amy over in Malaysia, but that it is all about that, gaining that and using that then to your advantage.
So, and if we go up a lower age, because obviously you've been involved with under 25s in the past, who do you think is going to come through, and how quickly should we be exposing them to the older sort of the senior men's team? Like you were talking about Elijah. Elijah, I believe, is a reserve this year. Youngest at 14, I think, last year to play in international Billy. There's lots of young guys. We talk about Tommy. Tommy, I think he played in the Lions team in the under 18s. Was it last year?
Yeah.
How soon should we be exposing these youngsters to go in and maybe playing in some of these big tournaments? It's just a question.
Listen, you need obviously a grounding in the game first. Obviously, playing through your club and your county representation. And then I look at, if they're good enough, to me, they're old enough then. So
Don't hold it back, is it? You don't hold them back.
If they
No,
are
you don't
playing,
want to be doing that.
no, if they are playing the balls and they're, within their right. Now, selection should always be on a level playing field, shouldn't it? So in
You'd hope
trials,
so.
whatever. Yeah. Maybe that's not always been the case, but that's maybe a different matter and a whole new podcast.
Yeah.
But no, if they are playing the balls and matching their opponent in a trial or whatever and producing, they're good enough, and they should get that back in and support, and expose them. Now, I've obviously managed Wales for a few years. Didn't manage to take the senior team to a British Isles series. We coincided with COVID.
Right, okay.
Which people might think, that must have been an easy job at the time then, but far from it, because we had all the COVID issues to deal with and risk assessments, blah, blah, blah. But one of the proudest things just during that shorter tenure would have been, the men's under 25 team.
Yeah.
Which obviously we trialled, and it was in the internationals, it was 3 rinks. So it was a little bit reduced format, but managed to select a strong group of players for that, good leaders identified at skip. And the best thing for me was actually having those lads listen to me and play the game as I wanted it played. The structure from lead to skip and being positive and attacking, and don't play with fear in the game at an international level. Go out and enjoy it and be positive and play the shots. And they listened to me, and we brought that series back over in Ireland. So that was one of the best things during my...
And you won that series, yeah?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Now then, there's a couple of big questions in just your statement there. 3 rinks. Yeah. Picking your best quality players. 1 team manager, as in selected. Did you select on your own, or how did that selection come?
No, it was a selection group
Okay.
at the time. So it would have been myself and I think we're sort of 5 selectors.
Okay.
Obviously, in my opinion, team manager does need to have the biggest influence in that, supported by his generals, to actually identify the style of play and the manner and approach. You take a team into British Isles Championships because it's your name, and you want to put your stamp on that and get an identity.
And we had the same question with a short match a couple of weeks ago, where the guy said England have got 1 team manager, director.
Most of them have one. Yeah. 1 selector, 1 team man, and there's an identity. You give them 2 years. This is your team, your vision. Go.
Well, you had a good right-hand man, didn't you, in Ian Slade? You and him worked as a brilliant team. And I've heard reports of, obviously, Robert resigned for this position, but I've heard from the likes of the senior internationals or whatever, best TM they've ever had. And the team with Ian Slade, and they didn't want him to finish, but that's probably another podcast.
That is another podcast, yeah. But it is interesting.
But I think you've hit the nail on the head. You're right. I think most of these teams we come up against, more often they have this identity.
Yeah.
And sometimes you look at the Welsh team and in games they look a little bit lost. And in other games they look like they are playing with an identity. It's like 50-50 hit and miss type thing. And I think you're right. I think you need to have an identity as a team. You need to know what you're doing as a team, what your goal is, because everyone wants to win. Don't get me wrong, everyone does want to win. And it's not like they go in there to play poorly by any means.
If you've got 6 selectors, you've got 6 different opinions.
Yeah.
6 probably selectors are looking from their own area. Looking at their own area. You've got the old arguments. And I mean, if you're down to 1 and say 2 assistants, it's on them. As you say, you put the identity on it.
There is an identity. And you play with an identity then. And I think, you're not far off.
I want to come back to yourself now, but we talked about it on the way up. You've got the game has changed, yeah?
Yes.
Is it a defensive game anymore? Is it a draw game, or is it more attacking game? So I'll come back to you there. What do you think? I need to look at these. I'll come in there as well. You come in, Dave, if you want. The game has changed on it a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it has changed, and probably it is more attacking, but it is dependent on format, isn't it? Now that's what you got to remember is, you know, what format are you playing? We still obviously Welsh championship or Welsh competitions. It's still 21 up, isn't it?
Yep.
Singles. So that's a totally different game to your sets, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a longer game where you can have different strategies during a 21 up game. Something doesn't work, you're trying something else, you know. Probably take some more chances, actually. You can play a ball for, try and get a 4 or whatever, I mean, with a bare white, you know, because you know you've got time to get back if that goes wrong. Sets can be quite difficult. Sets sometimes can make the game more defensive, because in a shortened format, if you're only playing 7 ends in a set, for example, you can't afford to drop a count. So your risk factor there is reduced, you know, heightened, because you can't drop a count of 3 or 4 because it's going to, you know, be hard to get back. To me, the game, as we talk about style and whatever, when we talk about attacking isn't, you know, flat out weight and whatever. It's a positive game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, every ball that is played from lead to back, if you're just passing that jack, that's ideal for me as a team manager. You know, your lead just being in an area, because in a game, a jack only travels backwards, really. Very few percentage like it's going to be coming back up the rink. So positive balls and attacking balls is actually turn the head through, playing the correct weight, but always reaching and changing things. Now, if you're lying shot, don't be afraid to actually go in and change that if your opponent's got a better position. Sometimes it's better to be 1 down than lie in a 3, which is easy for somebody to convert. Take back. So that can, to me, is deemed as positive play as well.
You hear it a lot of times now with changing the head. You know, even if you're up, change the head, make it different, make them have to think about the shots they play, that kind of thing. And I think you know, that's kind of what it is.
Dave, you wanted to come in?
Attack.
Well,
go on. You've got
well, I've got a unfortunate reputation by the sound of it. Everybody thinks I let one go up the middle pretty regular, but I've got to be honest, over the last few years, I've definitely altered, and especially the indoor situation. As Robert says, you've got to, especially respots and everything, you've got to think a hell of a lot more about it before you let one up and whatever. As you say, it's a different game. You've still, as you said, everything, you've got to have something behind. But if you're going to hit it yards and it goes out of rink and you're on the respot and you're still 2 or 3 down, you know, it's more of a thinking game now. And as I say, I've got a terrible reputation by some of our local club, Mr. Jack Dodds and Dale Gorman and Mark Whelan. You know, we've got terrible thoughts about me. But no, I've definitely calmed it well down.
So in Mid Wales, they've got somebody employed repairing banks and ditches around the different clubs. Like.
They must have made millions.
He's in the Mikey Brain.
Follow this guy around.
He's in the Mikey Brain game of bowling, isn't he?
I've definitely toned down, especially the last 10 years.
Right. Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming on to our little podcast. Thank you, David.
No problem.
Rob, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
And thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, listening. If you like, please subscribe on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything, and follow us on Facebook. Catch you next time. Thank you.